we could
Sure,
continue?
absolutely. We've responded to the request to show what the impact of the strategic plan would be on our finances. We've invited Steve Miller from PMA to be with us tonight. Barb has run some scenario on the numbers. Steve has also run it, so that we can show you basically kind of what the picture looks like when we take what we have suggested in the strategic plan and put it to actual dollars. So, Steve, I'll let you go ahead and take the wheel.
It's been a couple of years since I've been out, I think since the last financial plan was adopted and submitted to the state. So I wanted to kind of back up, run through all the key assumptions. We're going to hit on all the hot topics that have already come up: general state aid appropriations, transportation, pension reform, et cetera. As Dr. Perkmeyer mentioned a couple times, things are fluid, but this is kind of what we put together with a couple meetings and kind of knowing what we know now. Here's where things are. So with that, focus on the revenue side first. This is a breakdown of this year's revenue budget. Almost 80% of your revenue is coming from property taxes. So inflation, CPI is going to be the driver for the revenue growth there. And you can see the remaining revenue is pretty evenly split between other local revenues, general state aid, the other state aid, and federal dollars. And then I'll hit on the assumptions behind each piece and then on the next few slides. So with property taxes, your EAVs are declining, but because of the tax cap, your revenue is still growing at that CPI rate. You used to get a significant amount of revenue growth on top of the CPI in your new construction. Obviously, that's declined quite a bit. So CPI is going to be the key driver. It comes out every January, as you probably know. It came out at 1.7 for the last calendar year. You're not going to see that lower CPI though for another year plus. The tax dollars you're collecting this fiscal year and in the first half of next fiscal year based on the prior year's CPI at 3%. So that's going to drive your June page money and then your cook dollars later into the year. Then you'll see the 1.7 affecting fiscal year 15. We're assuming 2.5% going forward. The collection rate, the reason is 98.5%. That's based on the latest information as you're seeing. I've seen with all of my Cook County districts, collections coming in a little slower and not getting quite as high as they've typically collected. And that's what you've experienced with the second installment of Cook dollars last summer and then the first installment this year. All other local revenues we've got flat. The CPPRT being the biggest piece there. The next few slides then graphically show the property tax variables. Because it's primarily Cook County and they're only reassessing every third year, you took really the first big hit to your EAV for 2011 last summer when that extension came out for Cook County. Your cooks should be relatively stable for the next couple of years and then probably see another drop. The Page tax extensions just came out and we're seeing those starting to level off already at this point. So you can still see some downward trend, but again, because of the tax cap formula, it doesn't directly affect your revenues. CPI is going to be the driver, as well as new growth. You've seen new growth drop considerably the last couple of years. We've got it kind of bottoming out in 2012, and then you've got some properties coming on, a large commercial property on the Page side in 2014, and then the downtown Lamont tip comes on in 2015, so that's why that kind of ramps back up in those years before rolling up at 29. And then here's the CPI. You can see it's kind of seesawed up and down the last few years with 2013 being a lower year, and then the 2.5% assumption going forward. Because of the tax cap then, with EAV going down, your revenue going up, that's going to drive your tax rate up. So you saw a jump in the tax rate from 2011, and that's going to continue if EAV continues to decline. A lot of districts I work with in some years are having tax rate issues where they're getting the maximum tax rates in the individual funds. So we've seen tax rates go up by as much as $1 per year. You're not experiencing anything like that where we would be concerned that you wouldn't be able to get the dollars for the funds that need it. But that's definitely something to keep an eye on just in case. You have a maximum rate in the ed fund of $3.50 and your total rate is only around $2, so you've got lots of room at this point. But we have seen some legislation introduced to free up or create some flexibility there because there's a districts that are struggling to get dollars into the education fund because they're at their tax rate limits.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Each individual fund has a maximum tax rate,
Right.
but by statute, and then the tax cap is on your total tax rate. So some districts, because their EAV has dropped so much, their total rate is going up to a point where they can't divide that total rate into the funds where they need it, because they're at a maximum in the ed fund, and then the rate goes up another 1%, but they're already at the maximum in the ed fund, so they're having to levy more than they need in O&M or transportation, and then transfer it out.
So where EAV went down so much,
Right.
they can't get the rate up enough to get the revenue that they're supposed to get.
Right, they may have already had a higher rate, and then they've seen, a 15% drop in EAV, some communities have seen 20% declines in assessed values.
But we won't have that.
It doesn't appear like that's going to be an issue here. So general state aid, had some conversation about that already. Deb talked about it. This year's proration is 89%, so every district is getting 11% less than what the state formula says that they should get. We built in that proration continuing to get smaller, the 82%. Deb talked about 82%. The governor's budget is estimated 82%. That's what we've got for next year, and then we're taking that down by 5 percentage points each year going forward. What we see happening when we look at your GSA forecast is because your enrollment is declining and the foundation level is staying flat, you actually drop to the flat grant formula for general state aid. Your local revenue keeps going up on a per pupil basis, and the number of pupils is going down, and the state's contribution is staying the same. What that means is you'll see a drop in general state aid, things come to pass as the variables are assumed. And flat grant means you're getting $218 per student. So the state says you need at least $61.19, but you're generating so much locally that they're only going to take in $218 per student. And there's been some talk about eliminating the flat grant formula, so that's why I want to make sure you were aware of that, because there's an assumption that those are rich districts that don't need that money from the state, and they would rather redirect it to other districts. And we'll look at GSA on the next slide too. Real quickly, with other state and federal dollars, at this point we had assumed it flat, so this model doesn't include the big cut to transportation that Deb mentioned that's in the governor's budget proposal. This is assuming basically flat funding for transportation, but it does include those audit adjustments that we discussed. And then on the federal side, also we got flat. We haven't built in any loss to sequestration. That 5% or so that she mentioned for that would be about $40,000. That money lost. This shows general state aid historically and then projected. It's a little hard to see the two colors, but on the top of the bar, starting in 2012, there's a lighter blue portion, and that's where the proration started to kick in. So in 2012, you lost 5% off the top. This year it's 11%, and that's going to continue to grow. And then you can see in 2017, you take a big drop, and that's when you switch to the flat grant formula based on the enrollment and property tax and foundation level assumptions that are at this point. So that would be roughly a $200,000 loss by that change in the formulas. And that's about how much you've lost at this point from the proration and sort of gradual decline of state funding in general from 2019 to current. Any questions on revenues? Then we move on to expenditures. Again, we got a pie chart to kind of give you a frame of reference. Roughly 3/4 of your costs are in personnel, with the blue being salaries and the red piece being benefits. That's right in line with what I see with other districts. Roughly 3/4 of the costs are going to be personnel related, with purchase services and supplies and capital, making up the rest. That orange other slice is primarily tuition for students that are placed in outside programs for special education. So the staffing assumptions and the staffing costs are going to really drive the expenditure side, as you're aware. Built in 2% increases across the board for salaries for all groups for all years, and this is based on the Plan A staffing plan that was shared outside of the meeting. On the benefits side, based on preliminary information, you're looking at a 10% increase for medical costs for next year, and pension side, IMREF's employer rates have been going up ever since the downturn in the economy. We've got that kind of plateauing. And those are on a calendar year basis, so we've got that going up through calendar year 14 and then plateauing. Their performance is improved quite a bit in the last year or two. And then we have built in a TRS cost shift of 0.5% of salaries per year. So by the 5th year, you're up to 2.5% contribution rate. The two various plans that have been floated have been either 0.5% or 1% contribution per year from the employers until it reaches required funding level. So that works out to roughly $40,000 per year of increased benefit costs. That cost shift